exterminator, because SDS has got some bugs. Video games nowadays don't release without bugs. It's kind of an unfortunate circumstance, especially in the sports gaming world, where companies are expected to produce a new product and release a new product every single year. So often, games seem unfinished. We could go down the list of shooters, RPGs, all sorts of games, again, sports games included, that just feel off. Or they have game-breaking mechanics in there that the devs either don't realize or refuse to acknowledge. MLB The Show is not exempt from this problem. In fact, there are several bugs, many bugs, that are very, very annoying. Hi everybody, welcome back to Whiteboard Wednesday. Of course, I am Kenny. If you are new here, welcome to the channel. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go. This is Whiteboard Wednesday, and on Whiteboard Wednesday, we talk about MLB The Show with absolutely zero gameplay. We just have some fun with me and this whiteboard. We have some comedy, some laughs, some things, some stuff, some business. And today we're going to talk about a handful of problems in MLB The Show and why the game is just a little bit buggy. Some of these things are nuisances, some of these things are just annoying, and some are downright broken. The impetus for this video is because John Donaldson is taking really MLB The Show in all its forms by storm because he's the nastiest pitcher in the game, and because he's a two-way player, you can bring him out of the bullpen every game with full stamina. It's a problem. It's making ranked and BR borderline unplayable. Don't do it. But inspired by the buggiest bug of all the bugs, let's go talk about some more bugs. We might as well start with the source. The biggest issue going on right now in MLB The Show, in my opinion, is this right here. Two-way pitchers are broken. Shohei Ohtani, Martin Dihigo, John Donaldson, just to name a few. Those are the super good ones. And you can bring them out of the bullpen every single game. I repeat, every single game. And when they throw their first pitch, they all have full stamina. Battle Royale is a minefield of facing these people. It's almost impossible to go on a flawless run right now and not face Donaldson, Ohtani, or people like that a handful of times, maybe even like upwards of 5 or 6 times in the entire run. It is an epidemic. I, being the moral intellectual that I am, refuse to use this exploit. I will start John Donaldson. I will start Shohei Ohtani. I will not bring either out of the bullpen in any mode because I don't think it's fair to take advantage of an exploit. I understand it's not our faults that's in the game. It's SDS's faults. I have heard from being in several Twitch streams that this is kind of their #1 priority right now. Hopefully it gets fixed soon. SDS, if you're listening, please fix it soon. But I'm going to try to go about my gameplay the right way. You might think that's stupid and foolish of me, but that's what I'm doing. We're going to stick with pitching here, at least for a few, because pitching, shockingly, has many, many, many bugs. This year, for some inexplicable reason, when you swing at a slider, your PCI is the size of a grain of rice. That's whether you play on All-Star, Hall of Fame, or Legend, your PCI is microscopic. And yes, I understand that sliders are a very difficult pitch to hit. And yes, it should be harder to hit those pitches. But it's never been communicated to my knowledge that this is intentional. So that makes it feel like a bug. If it's intentional, I disagree with the fact that it exists. But if it's a bug, why hasn't it been fixed yet? Sometimes I feel like I'm playing a virtual game of blitzball, because my pitches, out of nowhere, will just start going down the middle and go, and they're up, out, and away, and nowhere close to where I threw them. Or better yet, I'm aiming for a corner, and they land directly on the barrel, and the ball is rocketed 700 feet over the fence. Pitch warping has never been a problem before this year. At least not to this degree. And it seems to come in fits and starts. It'll be really bad for a week, then we'll go 3 weeks of perfectly fine pinpoint. And then it goes back to how it's been the last 2 or 3 weeks, where you cannot locate literally anything. I don't know the solution to this. People have told me that connectivity issues are largely the problem, because it just doesn't interact correctly when the game is not connecting between the peer-to-peer servers and all the technological speak that I clearly don't know. So maybe the issue is larger than just pitch warping. Maybe it's fix your damn servers and have dedicated servers. Because this small little boutique company, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, it's called Sony. They own San Diego Studio. And Sony, they're doing okay. As a small startup, they're doing pretty well. If they could just maybe invest a little bit of money into dedicated servers to make this game better, that would change a lot of stuff. Whatever the hell this is pretty friggin' stupid. For some reason, guys. Pinpoint. Supposedly the most accurate pitching method. When I throw a perfect pitch, the ball sometimes still lands outside of the par region. I thought this was fixed in an earlier update. They said it was, yet here we are, still throwing pitches that are barely even kissing the edge of the par. In my opinion, if I throw a perfect pitch, it should be within this damn circle. And better yet, it should be smack dab in the middle of the damn circle. But there is some sort of bug that is disallowing that from happening. And quite frankly, pitching with pinpoint is borderline impossible right now between this and warping and other nonsense. The base running AI is basically drunk 24/7. I don't know if that's a bug so much as it is bad coding and bad logic, but either way, runners don't do what they're supposed to do when they're supposed to do them. And I'm not talking about reactions to base hits or speed or anything like that. It's when there's a runner on second and I hit a ground ball to the right of second base, and instead of advancing to third, my homie runs back to second base. That is never okay, and sometimes it happens. But the big issue I want to talk about here is stolen bases. Sometimes, when you steal a base and you have an incredible jump, and it looks like you're gonna waltz into second base, your guy stops dead in his tracks halfway to second base and then does the single ladies dance on for 10 steps, and then he begins to pick up and run again. Why? I'm a Beyonce fan just like anybody, but why? I'm just calling all of mini-seasons a bug because the entire mode is littered with them. It's an infestation. Call your local exterminator, it's the only way to get it fixed. SDS touted mini-seasons so highly last year as a new game mode, and it has potential. It does. It has legitimate potential as an offline mode in which you can use your God Squad. But it just doesn't work. Still, to this moment, it doesn't work. There will be games where your PXP doesn't count, where your mission progress doesn't count, where you just randomly disconnect and you're given a loss. It's just a garbage mode. And the interface is bad. And menus don't load. And why do you have to hold down the X button to progress through things? Just very stupid, silly things. Again, some of it's coding, some of it's logic, but a lot of it's buggy crap. I want to take this pause real quick in the semi-middle of this video, by the way, to address the fact that I forgot to tell you in the opener, I am not going to talk about all the bugs, because there's so many that I'm probably going to forget a lot of them. So if I did not touch on your favorite bug, please put it in the comments down below, and of course make sure you like and subscribe. In the year of our Lord Ramon 2023, not only can you still intentionally freeze the game will just freeze on its own. Apparently, I've heard this through being active in the community, that SDS acknowledges the fact that freezing is a problem. They, of course, don't like it, but because they're on an every year cycle, and they'd have to go all the way back into the source code to correct a problem that they aren't even sure would fix the problem, it's almost impossible to fix all the freezes. Now, this is not first-hand information from a developer, so I apologize if I am speaking out of turn or I am off base. I am just communicating what I've heard from other streamers in the community who have a lot more clout than I do. There will always be some sort of connectivity freezes when you're playing online games. That is kind of unavoidable. But the fact that every year the same types of things initiate freezes, or every year people find more and more ways to exploit and intentionally freeze the game, that's a giant problem. And I think that's what gets people so frustrated. If I froze one game out of every 100 I played, I don't know if I'd get that upset. Of course, in that moment I would be, but in totality, it's a pretty damn good percentage. But for the amount of laggy, freezing nonsense that goes on in this game and previous MLB The Show titles, it's incredibly frustrating. It's hard to go a game without your outfielder moonwalking to a baseball. Or more accurately, you hitting a screamer into the outfield and then your opponent's outfielder moonwalks to the ball. That's probably the way I should have said it in the first place. This is allegedly because when you play crossplay, if you play crossplay, it's your prerogative if you'd like to or not. I leave it on just to keep my player base pretty wide, but I understand why some people want to turn it off. I digress. If you play with crossplay on and you match up against somebody on the other branded console, so if I'm PlayStation and I match up against an Xbox player, apparently, and again, I don't know if this is intentional, for some reason it happens, I don't think it's intentional, Xbox and PlayStation outfielders default to different depths. I don't know which one defaults shallow, and I don't know which one defaults deep. But either way, that is why there are communication and warping issues. Because your PlayStation is telling you that the outfielder is here, but their Xbox is telling them that the outfielder is here. And so there's a weird, I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. There's a weird communication issue going on. That, to me, screams bug. Ultimately, it doesn't really affect things a ton. I guess it kind of impacts your perception of what is going to happen on that batted ball. Maybe you think it's going to be scorched into a gap, and your opponent goes, no, and catches it like this, and it impacts some of your base running. I hope at this point you're just aware enough of the fact that outfielders do that so you don't run yourself into outs. That should not be the case. The onus should not be on us because of a stupid glitch in the matrix. But here we are. This is the last one I'm going to talk about with you all today. And this happened to me in one of my videos that I posted on YouTube last week. I ended up winning a game by the actual score of 6-4. The scoreboard showed me 6-5, and the game history showed me 6-5. I looked back. I was not wrong. It was 6-4. I don't count that high. Counting's hard, but I can count to 4, and I can confirm with 100% certainty it was 6-4. The whole game was a connection nightmare. There were pitches warping. The player of the game for me was Joe Mauer, who went 1 for 4 with a home run, when I had somebody on the bench who had 3 RBIs and 2 hits. It was a really, really strange game. But I think what happened is I threw a runner out at home in like the 8th inning or 7th inning, something like that. And I think SDS counted that run on the score sheet, but it didn't actually count because he was very clearly out at home. So that's a bug. I mean, that's a very clear issue in which the game can't even compute what the fuck just happened on the field. So, can we fix it, please? I feel like this isn't that hard at this point. I hope you guys enjoyed another edition of Whiteboard Wednesday. Did you know that there are over 900,000 living insect species on this earth, and that half of them exist in MLB The Show?